Bellevue Montessori School just happened to have this wonderful parent who had 2 children at our school out in the treehouse, and he decided to help us out with helping our dismissal process. We have 169 children at our location and very limited parking. And seeing that need, he actually put together a program, and we got to be his beta school. We've been doing this since 2011, and it made an incredible difference for dismissals. We are next to a fairly busy street, and so the cars had to pull over to the side and wait along the street, and it was disruptive to the traffic in the area. By adding QManager, we were able to move the children out to the cars much more quickly because the teachers could see from their iPads who had arrived in the parking lot and bring them right out. We started having everybody in our center court area, and that made it even quicker, but it really had a lot to do with the technology where parents could sign in. They didn't have to wait for someone to walk up to their car and have them sign a piece of paper. They could actually do it on their phone, and that made a huge difference. And then having someone inside who could actually see that they were there to bring the child out. We're a Montessori school, and so our classrooms are very calm and peaceful. And suddenly we're putting, 120 children in one big space, and it was very chaotic. So by having the QManager system, we were able to move those children back into their own classrooms. All of the teachers had iPads, and when a parent drove up and signed in, we could then have someone outside click here, and in the classroom it would light up and actually say the child's name. And we actually made that a job for one of the kindergartners to go find their friend and let them know that their mom or dad was there to pick them up. So yeah, it made a huge difference. That kind of overstimulation for children in a crowded space was a lot to handle for many of them. It was the end of their school day. By moving them back into the classroom, they were able to be in a calm, peaceful place. And then they could be notified from their iPad that the car was there for the child to be picked up. On the days where electricity goes out and we have to use the paper again, it takes a long time. I have to say that QManager tends to be very consistent. We've been really happy using the product, and it's really helped the parents. The parents love that they can sign in, and now during COVID, them being able to sign in on their phone rather than having a common pen or having to handle a clipboard that 100 other people have touched, or even an iPad, they can do it all, and it's a no-touch kind of situation. The paper was a big one because we had to have sign-in sheets every day, and you have to have those logs and keep them. Now it was all basically digital. We also could cut down on staff because we didn't have to have staff running back and forth to get children. It was all done through the digital iPads, so we cut back on staff quite a bit. Being able to move them back into the classroom made such a huge difference as well in terms of staffing, because then the staff could just kind of continue their circle time, or one of the staff could even begin the cleanup process at the end of the day by having the children in there. So it was very helpful. So one of the things you talked about, working with Christine and kind of coming up with solutions to problems, and we really appreciate that. With QManager, we've been able to kind of give our input of what we need, and you've responded really well. So the QManager staff looked at kind of the issues with COVID-19 and what was required. We're required to have every parent take a health survey before bringing their child in. And so they developed a whole survey that the parents could answer at home, taking the child's temperature, and we could also do that at school and note that the child had a normal temperature. So that solved a huge problem for us because that was going to be very time consuming. So there's some other features that you have, the text feature. We've used that. We don't use it for our normal communications, but if we have a situation where the electrical on the corner where we had to have everybody picked up, we used QManager texting system to alert the parents that they needed to come, or when we had the smoke situation where it went from kind of orange to purple in a very quick amount of time. So we have used the other features, but we also like the reports. I have to say, one of the things I've used it for a lot is for staffing. If I know that I'm having some staff that are out sick and some are arriving late, I can pick up my iPad and look at the who's in each classroom and how many. So, looking at the ratios and deciding, where do I send that floater? Who needs that help? Who is about to be out of ratio? I can make sure that classroom gets the help they need. So I've used it in more ways than just the dismissals and the pickups.